and it's coming in green. You don't see red here. Look here, red. Everything is plasma. It's plasma. It's still here. It's plasma. Look, everything is red. Look, 119, 123 is going up there. Look, 124, let me check something. Look, I brought the guys. We can walk over there. It's really high here. Magnetic reading. It's super high. That's how it's going to trigger. Look, it's getting even stronger. It's going up. Look, it's going up to 180. 180, it's coming. Yeah. Olha só, cara.
Tá muito
Realmente, para andar nesse mapa, você pega o local do pouso todo dia, né?
Just the face. Look, just the face. Is it on the ground? No. It's not on the floor. It's not on the floor. It's not on the ground. It's in the air. Okay, look, it's above. It's on both pedals. Look, we're at the place where the ship landed in Cláudio, and we're detecting a very strong electromagnetic field here. It's constant, connected here, and oscillating. Sometimes it even turns green. It showed up on our equipment and on Saga's too, right? Let me check something here, the plasma from the landing site. Let's see how it's going to behave. Uh-oh. Look how it's in the green, see? Look, man, look how the plasma is behaving. Huh? Look. He became just one thing. Wow, I've never seen this. Did it stop? How does it turn? It's not mixing. It was supposed to mix with the water and turn white. Now it stopped. No, get off the floor. Look how it is here now. Hey, gay. Look at the plasma field. It's not spinning, see? It turned into a... Look, I have goosebumps everywhere. It turned into a single ball. Look, this here, man, is supposed to be like this, you know? Let me grab some GANS here. Look, see here? When I mix it, look. When I turn it, look. It has to be like this, see? See? Yeah, look, see? It doesn't come off on the sheet, look. Is this blue plasma the same as this one here? No, this one is Xenio. Look, I collected this one at the spacecraft landing site in 2022. Do you think it's the same energy as this one here? The same energy it was using during the arrival, right? Yeah, it was being used here. See, it hasn't stopped and it won't. Want proof? It hasn't stopped. Want to see where it's going to stop? Man, who's here? Lauro, I don't know what. Stay with him. See where we're going. Look at us. Where are you, Ed? I'm here. Come here. Man, it just exploded over here. I'm getting goosebumps. You feel that? Look, it's getting stronger. Here it's already 190. It dropped. 150 weight. Come back here. Look, 630. 140, 150, 360, 330, 370, 102 weight. Check here. It's already gone up in value. Look. Damn, the bite that doesn't heal. Check it out. Look. Do you have any of the rev there? Oh, no way. It drops to 0 on the ground. Look. Oh, shit. It's here. Look. Throw it in the net. See if it's too red here. Look, Lauro. Where's Lauro? Here, throw it in the net. See if it's working. See if the net is charged, okay? There, look, it's charged. See? See? Big red one. See that? The net's all charged up. Look. So it's the net that's causing this. Yeah, because look, the plasma actually crossed the net. It's causing this effect. So, man, that's what's weird. There, look. Look, it doesn't mix. Look, man, this is the most beautiful one I've ever seen in my life. Look, it doesn't mix.
When we got here, the equipment was going off and registering activity. We thought it was the electrical grid, but it's not the electrical grid because all the equipment stopped, right? It can't be the electrical grid. It would have to keep going, right? Like those pulses constantly say something, Saga, come here. And that didn't happen, right?
No, it showed up both on your device and on my device. And when it went up, I'd get goosebumps all over my back. You saw it. Then when we put the device on the ground, it would go to 0. So the field was above about 1.6 to 1.8 meters.
Up to a certain height.
Yeah, up to a certain height.
So we thought it's the power grid, but it's not.
No, it's not the power grid.
It's not. It just stopped. In fact, Arthur, take a look here.
Take a look.
Careful. Yeah, we have G's equipment here, right? Right? That we... Yeah, he saw it. At that moment, it was registering some pulses, right? And then he recorded it. Look, it was registering these pulses here, see? Which are synchronized. How much is it? 90-something? 95.4? Yes. Hertz. And then he reset it. So there's no way something like that could happen. So it wasn't the power grid. And this is exactly the place where the flying saucer that was seen at that time landed. So there's something here. And it's really strange. Look, all the equipment stopped. What's happening over there? What's happening there? What's happening there?
I'm a doctor. I called Matu.
Is it 8 meters?
That's right. Everything the student mentioned, about 8 meters from there. That's it. And it's here. Look. This way. Look. That's the direction over there. Look. There. Look how crazy that is. Look. Look. Is it strong? Check it out.
When we were there, this GANS plasma here, it was all concentrated at the bottom and it wouldn't mix.
Like it was a little ball, right?
And now it's completely mixed. Now that we're leaving and going over there, it's totally mixed. So, what happened there at that moment when all the equipment was going off too?
That's really interesting. Look at that. Yeah, let's see how long.
Guys, we're here on the road, right? Where Cabo Rabelo saw a UFO in 2008. Last night we came here and the equipment started going off. We're here with a few cars. Come over here, look. There are several pieces of equipment we brought to see if they would really detect that interference we had here last night, right? We came to keep watch. Since we knew this was where Cabo Rabelo saw the object floating there, right? Almost landing. So we thought it could maybe be some interference from the power grid, right? There's a power grid here, but that's not what's happening here. We don't know if it's something like some kind of portal that opened at that moment, or if some object was following us, right? Because it was first detected back at the distillery. And then here it was the peak of those detections. Look, G is up ahead together with Lauro and his wife, right? They're using a metal detector to see if they can find anything. But I'm going to show you the place where Cabo Rabelo saw it in 2008 here in Cláudio, in the city of Cláudio. So it was right there in that area. They stayed on the road and saw objects. Objects floating in the shape of like a minibus, right? Something kind of long, kind of cigar shaped, really interesting. Hey, Lauro, come over here. What happened last night?
Well, last night I brought Edison Boaventura here. We came that time to record Rabelo, but we still hadn't come to this place to keep watch yet. And then, as soon as they started turning on the equipment, they all started picking something up, right? I don't really understand, but I saw that there were some changes happening. So, for example, Saga would lift up the device and it would pick something up, but if he put it on the ground, it wouldn't. And then we were worried that maybe it was the power line, right? But we came back today and nothing happened.
Nothing. So it's not the power line, it was some really strange, weird interference that was happening here at the place. We're going to other places because we're looking for somewhere to install a camera, right? We had a camera installed at Matias. We took it out from there because it didn't work out there either. And now we're looking for another place here in Cláudio to install a camera to keep monitoring in case any unidentified object shows up. Last night, what did you think? I think it happened here, right? When we came here, all the equipment was working, right? And now we arrived here during the day trying to set up the same equipment and nothing. We thought it was the power grid, and what do you think?
It's not the power grid. The changes in the electromagnetic field here fluctuate, so it's like waves, right? Peak, drop, peak. And we also deduced that when there are small portal openings, it also oscillates at certain moments. Yesterday you came yourself, you were like, what's happening, because your equipment and mine beeped up there, right? It reached almost 250 watts, right? 250 watts, right? And when we put it on the ground to ground it, it went to 0. So for sure there are some fluctuating spikes in the electromagnetic field here.
So, but couldn't it be that we were followed by an unidentified flying object that was invisible, for example? Could it also be something like that? Because it started detecting something back at the distillery. It was the first time we saw those devices go crazy. Then it stopped for a while. And when we came here, as soon as we got out here, it started again. Could it be that we're being monitored too?
Monitoring, for those who study these things, is normal and will happen. There's no way it won't happen. But as for the idea of them following us, I don't really believe that, because if you're being monitored, you're already being followed, okay? The fluctuation was strong. It was strong here. It was strong here. This is where it was strongest, right here. And this happens sometimes because of this fluctuation in the electromagnetic field and what people call portals, when those things open up, the opening of portals and all that, right? And yesterday actually was a good date for that, right? And it wasn't just here. You saw there was another place that made more than the 7th spot run away, right? So there is electromagnetic fluctuation. About the situation you said has been forcing things since back then. I don't know if you remember that I used to move my plasma that I collected at the post field in 2022, and that it causes a change. It does.
It influences the electromagnetic field equipment, right? It's a pretty curious thing.
That's true. It affects the electromagnetic field, not the equipment.
That the equipment detects.
It detects. Do you understand? Because like it's normal, but here there's something, either a change in the field due to oscillation or a change in the field due to the opening of portals. There's something here. There's no doubt about that.
That's it. A car is coming. Let's get out of here. Otherwise, we might end up getting hurt. G is out there in the field, right? He's investigating something else, seeing if he can detect anything, right? And Alexandre, come over here for a second. What did you think about yesterday, about last night's vigil with all the equipment going crazy?
Look, compared to the other vigil we did in February, this one had way more equipment, a lot more equipment really. And even though we didn't capture a UFO like we did in February, the feeling during last night's vigil was much more intense. At the little lake, when we went down there, especially me, I ended up getting a really strong chill. Getting close to the trees, wait, that's not a palm tree, is it? From the trees down there. And it was different. It gave me more chills than the last time.
You know, we actually saw the objects, right? Look, Cláudio, it's a hot spot where there's UFO activity from time to time. So what did we do? We've already installed cameras in some places. Unfortunately, we haven't been successful, right? We haven't managed to record a UFO yet. But now we've moved to a place here that has already had cases, right? Of sightings, people who were chased. And then we installed this camera here. It has a sensor. So if there are any moving lights near this spot, it will detect them. After a while, we'll come back, take out its chip and check these images to see if there's anything different, right? Other times when we left the camera, we ended up capturing, for example, animal life too, right? Birds showing up, some little animals. But the real intention here in Cláudio is to try to record unidentified flying objects.